Okay, guys, we are back going over some more just tips, just flexibility stuff, strength conditioning, injuries, prehab, things like that. And we're here with Hannah today. In another video, we talked about screening shoulder flexibility. We talked about screening hip flexibility for splits. We talked about dealing with hip flexor and quad stiffness in some other circuits. Today, we're going to talk about actually addressing people who have limited motion because of stiffness under their arms. So we talked about in the last video how if athletes swing a lot, or if they grow a lot, or if they do a lot of strength conditioning with rope climbs and leg lifts, maybe in too much of high volume, they get stiff under their arms and their chest, and they can't get their arms over their head for handstands or for proper swings. So again, we talked about in the last video how maybe just stretching by itself is not going to be super effective, and that we need to do a lot of things based on what the research says. So a little bit of foam rolling, a little bit of stretching, a little bit of active flexibility work, a little bit of eccentrics, and then maybe gymnastic specific technique in a circuit versus just stretching for 20 minutes or just pulling on someone's shoulder. So I'm going to show you probably my most useful one that I've come up with just kind of from reading research and trying a lot of these that I give to a lot of people. So Hannah will walk us through just the pieces of it, and then you guys can actually see the entire video or the entire worksheet breakdown in the comment section of this little blog. So grab the foam roller first. So again, two areas we want to work on. We're going to go the underarm first for 30 seconds and then the chest for 30 seconds. So we're going to go arm moving up and down nice and slow. She goes all the way up and down. Okay, the lats are really big. They're kind of behind your arm here. So she would do 30 to 60 seconds of this, right? We don't have a lacrosse ball right now, but a lacrosse ball in the chest would also be the next thing we do, maybe against the block. Okay, after they do 30 seconds on both sides, one of our favorite stretches is called the stick stretch. Okay, so we're just doing this up on the block to make it easier to see for the video, but elbows are going to go up in the block, her palms will flip underneath, very, very round in here, and she's going to stretch until she feels underneath here. Okay, make sure that they're not sticking their head up, make sure their hands are wider than their elbows, and make sure they're very round in their upper back to try to feel the stretch underneath here. Okay, so she can relax. So that would be 30 to 60 seconds of that. Okay, the third thing that we really like to do after we do actual stretching work is something to work on the strength of our upper back. So what we're going to do next is just some basic rotator cuff and shoulder blade exercises. So she grabs this a 5-pound dumbbell. She's going to do what's called the U. So she rows her elbow up and she rotates palm up to the ceiling, and then she comes back down. Okay, she would do 10 of these. Again, this is working middle trap, lower trap, rhomboids, something in the back of the shoulder, kind of your infraspinatus as well. Okay, so just these muscles are a little underdeveloped and these ones are overdeveloped, so we try to balance somebody out. So 10 of those on both sides. Okay, she can drop that. Okay, the next thing that we like to do, you can just lay in your stomach and do floor angels. Yep, so she's gonna lay flat. So we just do some active flexibility work. So thumbs go up, reach all the way back and down and around. Okay, all the way back up. Again, now trying to use the muscles of her shoulder blade to pull her into overhead flexibility instead of just passively getting stretched. So she would do 10 of these. Okay, and then the last thing that we don't have the option to show right now is that we would do an eccentric chin up lower. So she would go over to a low bar, she would jump up and put her chin over, she would stay hollow, 5-second lower all the way down, 5-second hold at the bottom for 5 repetitions, just because a lot of research has shown that that's an effective dose to increase the flexibility of the muscles underneath it. So kind of try that. Try to do the screen to make sure that these athletes are appropriate, right? If they're very, very passively flexible, the flexibility circuit's not going to be appropriate for them. They need more strength and more control. But try the light soft tissue work with foam rolling, try some stretching, try some active flexibility in some of the dumbbell exercises, then do some slow chin-up lowers. Okay, do that 2 or 3 times, and then keep rechecking their flexibility. It might take 2 to 3 weeks for it to show up, but that's been way more effective than just passively stretching somebody and seeing if it just magically happens.